Four companies have overtaken our world and our lives without even realising it. They've slipped in under our noses and have created a society that relies and thrives thanks to their help. However, what we see isn't always the truth. We see four businesses striving to facilitate our lives and make everything easier. They help us to find whatever we need, they help us to buy it once we've found it. They've become the things we need to buy, and they've become the places we share the purchase. They've become ingrained in our lifestyle, and without realising it, we now struggle to live without them. These are the four most influential companies in the world: Facebook, Apple, Google, and Amazon. What's the secret to their takeover? What makes their brands the best of the best? And are they as angelic as they seem? In this four-part series, we take a look into each company to work out who's the best of the best, and who's done the worst of the worst. This is EntreConnect on the four horsemen of the business apocalypse. Apple is our second horseman. The sleek products with their luxury feel, the stores themselves feeling like you're walking into a tech version of heaven, and even the geniuses give off the air of higher power. The whole company has been built on the legacy that it makes you better, more attractive, and more worthwhile. This comes from one man, Steve Jobs, deified by customers and the creator of the cultish Apple consumer base. Jobs took the company from the risk-averse technology company and created a culture that punished non-creative thinking, building a relentless machine of innovation. From this came the iPod and iTunes, followed by the iPhone and then the iPad. From 2000 to 2010, Apple were the innovators, and we consumers waited with bated breath for every keynote from the iconic founder. Every time he'd say his spiel, turn away, turn back, and change the world with his final sentence, putting him in the annals of tech history. While Jobs had the innovation, he didn't quite have the stability. After his death, however, Tim Cook turned the company into a more predictable, profitable, and reliable business, which pleases the shareholders while still pumping out new products. This has truly turned them into a horseman, with over $260 billion of revenue in 2019 and $55 billion of net profit in 2018. The value speaks for itself, with a market cap of $1.663 trillion. The thing that made Apple quite so successful was a particular dynamism that showed another level of business acumen. Jobs helped them transfer from a tech company to a luxury brand, and he did it just in time. Apple's market share was in the process of falling from 90% of the tech industry to below 10%. That's when Apple was targeting their customers' brains, with processing power, memory, and the highest quality of tech. Jobs stopped this, and targeted the genitalia instead, with sleek design, the promise of a better life, and the idea that Apple products will practically get you laid. He took them from nerdy to cool, which provided multi-generational success. The iPhone practically became fetishized. Having one showed yourself off as wealthier, sexier, and more successful. It targeted our consumer love of having the most expensive, luxurious things, and became a status symbol that was more likable than any other phone. It's so irrational to buy an iPhone with less memory and processing power than an Android, and with a similar operating system for double the price. But we do. We simply crave luxury, and Apple takes advantage of that. You might be thinking Apple is still a tech company. Technically it is, but it's a luxury brand through and through. While it only has hold of 19.2% of the smartphone market, it captures 87% of global smartphone profits. Tech companies can't do that. Luxury brands can, because they can charge high markups. The marketing of Apple as a luxury product was genius. It turned good but not incredible tech into something that made your mouth water. This idea that you were an iPhone, Mac, iPad, and more recently AirPod owner became a status symbol, allowing Apple to make underpowered products much more expensive and more craved than their more powerful counterparts. However, we don't just buy Apple products because they look nice and make us feel good. Apple has created a technological ecosystem that gives you more benefit for each Apple product you buy. It connects you to other people who also live within the ecosystem with FaceTime and iMessage, and the larger the community grows, the stronger the ecosystem gets. Furthermore, they have strong connectivity with Adobe apps, music production programs are more widely available, and iMovie is a joy to behold for a built-in program. Apple produces good tech, and the fact they're all connected creates a luxury image that goes with it. With Apple, that image is so often worth paying for. So Jobs has built up this incredible luxury tech brand that we crave to own. He is the iconic founder that every luxury brand needs. He's the king of the keynotes. He had his trademark turtleneck and he was practically a god to true Applers. Then he passed away, leaving his innovative memory as the hallmark of Apple, truly deifying him. The world mourned and idolised him. He could do no wrong, which is why he seemed to get away with much more than any other CEO could. Jobs bullied his employees. He very rarely, if ever, donated anything to charity, and if he did, it would be under the corporate umbrella for Apple. Jobs actively perjured himself regarding the Apple stock option program. He perjured himself again by swearing he was sterile when he wasn't paying child support to a daughter he knew was his. He was a phenomenal businessman, marketer, and more. Unfortunately, he was also an arsehole. There's been a fair few scandals in Apple's time. They've often been caught up in debates about their privacy standards, refusing to allow the FBI to open an iPhone in the circumstances of a serious crime. Their tax scandal in Ireland landed them with a $14.5 billion tax bill. They admitted to slowing down older iPhone models to move us onto the newer ones. They also have been known to have horrendous working conditions, which led to 14 Foxconn worker suicides in 2010. Even after providing safe working guidelines, the BBC found these were regularly broken. Their tech has failed time and time again. Antennagate with signals cutting out, bending phones, and the touch disease. They've reared their ugly head a few times, but they are so good at making us forget these, and we as consumers value the fact we need luxury over most other things. So, are they good or evil? Well, Jobs was an innovator, but an arsehole. Under him, I think there was much more evil potential. Tim Cook seems more stable, and while they've occasionally shown serious signs of evil, the main point being the working conditions, these crimes are much less serious than those of Facebook, and they're few and far between. Their products work beautifully as a luxury brand. They look incredible. The tech really isn't that special though. For the price, you're not actually getting much. You feel better for having it, but you don't, relative to the other products on the market, get your money's worth from the tech alone. The feeling, however, can't be bought. That's what makes Apple so valuable. All in all, they're not that good. They received just 2 stars in that field. However, they're also not that evil, given most of the bad stuff they've done is often good from a business perspective, and while there is some immorality, it's much less frightening than Facebook's potential power. Hence, 2 stars there as well. Who would have thought the luxurious, expensive brand that we all want would be so mediocre? That's Horseman number 2. Only 2 remain.